Hey, Cora here. Welcome to my channel, CorasAtHerCorner, and today we're doing a little investigation of what might be the true relationship between WWE, TKO, Endeavor, whatever, and ESPN. What I can find, everything is public. I will try to remember to put the links down below for each of these things, so that way you can look at them if you want for yourself, and I like receipts. So let's start back and go a little bit about, what was it, August, July 2025. This all started when Peacock, their deal with WWE was ending to show premium live events, or PLE. For those who are not used to the U-term, it's basically a pay-per-view or PPV. So Peacock's deal was going to be ending, I believe, at the beginning of this year, 2026. I don't remember exactly, but maybe it was the very, very end of 2025. But WWE knew they had to shop around, get a deal, whatever. Well, with TKO, Endeavor, whatever you want to call them, taking over, things seem to get a little bit more greedy than Vince McMahon had run it. If you compare, in my opinion, Vince was greedy, I would think, but not that greedy. I had to look it up. So August, they made the announcement that they were going to do PLEs on ESPN starting in January for the Royal Rumble, which was supposed to take place, and which did take place, in Saudi Arabia this year. So the announcement had showed up. People are freaking out because ESPN Plus costs about $30 compared to the Peacock, which is about, I would say, about $10. I'm paying less than that right now because I got a little deal. I'm paying about $3 a month. It ends soon. Whether it's $3 or $10 a month, that is so much better than $30 a month, which if you look, I don't think in December they really have any PLEs. So what's the point of paying for a subscription in December? But anyways, they make this huge announcement. The Royal Rumble is gonna be the first one on ESPN, and it's this great deal for them. Really though, it was money. In my opinion, money. So with this new deal, it should be about $325 million per year for the 5-year deal that they had. So $1.6 billion is what the deal was for, compared to Peacock. So according to, I don't know why Reddit's always the first one that comes up, but then again, it's been so much time, it's a little bit, the news gets buried a little bit and stuff, but about $200 million a year. So you kind of see why they would get a little greedy with that. But the thing is though, to get that deal, WWE also needs to deliver. And I think that might be where the problem might lie. So here we go. We have this $30 deal, and then all of a sudden WWE and ESPN decide, you know what? Screw it. We're going to make up this last minute pay-per-view, call it WrestlePalooza, and we're just going to throw it on ESPN Plus and call it this amazing pay-per-view. At least that's what it felt like to me. So then they changed it from the Royal Rumble now to September. So people are freaking out because they thought they had a few more months left, and now all of a sudden you're getting this huge price hike, which a lot of fans these days, they're not going to care. They're going to find a way around it. So here is where the first problem starts. The article I found on this, and I remember when all this happened, the article is labeled September 1st. This is from Sports Illustrated. So at this time, I guess Stephanie had 2 shows, which I wasn't sure about the one, or at least I don't remember the one, but the other one, she still has going on her little podcast called What's Your Story, where she goes and she interviews wrestlers and all kinds of people and stuff. I believe it was a Roman Reigns interview, and this sparked some flames. So according to this article, this actually did happen in August of 25. So this was probably within the same month of that announcement. In this podcast, she did a sponsorship for a VPN. And let me read you the quote she did for this ad. A lot of you are still watching WWE the old school way, on cable, dealing with boring commercials while I'm enjoying uninterrupted action. Let's fix that with today's sponsor, Surfshark VPN. So when she did that, it sounds like the people in ESPN were not very happy, is what it seems. So ESPN sources were purportedly not thrilled with this VPN ad. So that was such a lovely start where they hadn't even had their first PLE yet. Such a lovely start. Which, by the way, even without her doing that ad, fans are gonna do it anyways. You can't stop them. Pirating still exists, people. So then we finally get into September, WrestlePalooza happens, and let's just say the fans were not very happy. The critic from ESPN didn't seem very impressed. I believe the grade was a C. And it was reported that WWE was not very happy with that. And ever since then, I have not found a grade for any of the PLEs after that. I heard there was one for WrestleMania Night 1, but when I looked it up, I can only find an article, not a grade. So, something's a little fishy there, in my opinion. But it was during this time, too, YouTube TV subscribers, and I believe it was DirecTV subscribers, were told that they can still have ESPN Plus, or at least the pay-per-views, with their subscriptions. And that leads us to the next fun thing that I barely hear anything about. Because of this, those people ended up not getting it that day. We're mad, and now, and I have this in the description, but I have the class action lawsuit filed against WWE for this type of stuff. I didn't fully look into it, but I got the gist of it. Basically, those people are definitely part of whatever you would get from the lawsuit from, which, by the way, class action lawsuit is the one that walks away with the most money are the lawyers. Let's be honest. But they're part of it. I'm not sure about the rest of us that, with that huge money jump, if we'd still be a part of it or not, but the majority of it is those people right there. They're the ones that are in this lawsuit, and it is 30 pages and I haven't had a chance to read all 30 pages because they're very long. So Michael, and I hope I say this right, Diesa and Rebecca Tabak are the individually and on behalf of all others are the plaintiffs, and WWE is the defendant. This was filed at the beginning of the year on January 8th. They demand for a jury trial. If you look at the nature of the actions, there's 4 of them. I'm probably just going to go through those and leave the rest of it up to you if you want to look deeper into it. So, August 2025, nature of the action. In August 2025, WWE, a sports entertainment behemoth and a recognized leader in global entertainment, announced that it would be moving all its premium live events from Peacock to ESPN, making ESPN and its new direct-to-consumer DTC streaming service the papers screw me off. The exclusive U.S. domestic home of all WWE PLEs for 5 years at least. With everything I've seen, I wouldn't be surprised if they don't sign with them again, but who knows? It could be completely wrong. Okay, number 2, WWE is the world's most prominent and powerful professional wrestling promotion and is expected to make US $1.6 billion from this move. Number 3, WWE fans have not fared well. However, where areas previously fans could view WWE PLEs paying approximately $11 per month for Peacock, ESPN charges at least $30 per month with the new TTC service. WWE fans are predictably and understandably upset with willful and intentional and outlandish money grabs. Working in concert with ESPN, a part of their media partnership, WWE unsubscribingly moved to ensure the fantastical and loyal fans that they will really not be financially harmed by this move. Ensuing joint press release with ESPN, WWE intentionally, knowingly, willfully, and recklessly at One Nation media source reported like consumers. This is a lot to believe. Yeah, this is a bunch of crap, and then I go down, like, finish the sentence on the page. Damn it, to believe that anyone who already paid to receive ESPN, cable television, or satellite provider, for example, would be able to access the new DTC service PLEs with no additional cost. And that's the main thing. It's those DirecTV people and the YouTube TV people I think they're the ones that are mostly affected in this lawsuit. But while the price difference is certainly striking, those concerned about the PLE costs doubling or even tripling is seemingly unaware that if you're already subscribed to ESPN through a pay TV provider such as cable bundle or services like YouTube TV, then you'll also be able to access the DTC streaming service and its features via authentication and no additional cost. This was stated in both the press release, which it was, announcing the WWE ESPN deal, as well as the announcement of the streaming service's August 21st launch date, and explicitly laid out in an ESPN fact sheet regarding the DTC offering that was published in May. I was wrong. There's a lot in here. That was the first 4. So let's go to 5 or 6. It's kind of hard when all these like mid-page is like, I'm not used to reading legal documents. Okay, number 5. For example, in its August 6, 2025 press release, which was jointly issued with ESPN and announced their landmark rights and agreements, WWE stated, designed to give fans more choice, flexibility, and access to all of ESPN. These new features and functionality will be available to all fans who watch on the ESPN app on mobile and connected TV devices, whether they subscribe directly or through a traditional pay TV package. Also, I'm going to do number 6. Also on August 6th, WWE President Nick Khan, we're going to get to him later, publicly and unequivocally just stated that with what has been referred to as ESPN flagship you subscribe to, here we go with the cutoff sentence, the product to get WrestleMania, Summer, Royal Rumble, and all of our other premium live events with no upcharge. WWE also intentionally, knowing, willfully, and or recklessly drove consumers to and adopt its own ESPN's various material deceptive and false public statements concerning the availability of the DTC service and its PLEs, for example, per ESPN and therefore WWE. The new features and functionality are available to all fans who watch on ESPN app, whether they subscribe directly to ESPN through a traditional paid TV package. All fans who subscribe to ESPN, whether through a traditional TV package or directly with the ESPN DTC unlimited plan, have access to new features when watching on the ESPN app. You get the gist. It's a lot of examples and stuff too. You can look at it, putting that down below in the description because it's long. But the funny thing is, I haven't heard much about it. I may have heard about it once and then forgot about it, but I really haven't, because this happened right when WrestleMania season was about ready to happen too. So I wonder if WWE and ESPN's doing their best to kind of keep it in the dark. But then I did a little bit more digging and I found this lovely article by WrestleZone. ESPN moves to intervene in lawsuit against WWE over PLE access. Surprise, surprise. Of course they're gonna try to intervene. Of course. Sounds like they're having so much fun with this already. It's such a great deal. See, in the lawsuit too, this article also says that ESPN is not named as a defendant, apparently to get around the arbitration clause in the subscriber agreement. ESPN's trying to intervene. A significant legal twist has emerged in the ongoing case surrounding WWE's premium lineup events. ESPN has officially stepped into the ring, though not as a defendant. The March 27th development adds a new layer to a lawsuit that already had plenty of moving parts. Moreover, now the stakes may be shifting behind the scenes rather than in open court. According to reporting shared by Brandon Thruston, ESPN has filed a motion to intervene in the class action lawsuit against WWE. The goal is clear: move the case out of public court and into private arbitration. They want to keep this quiet as much as they can. So if I can find a way to get more updates, I would love to cover this, you know? Let's keep it public, because that's what we need to do, because I think WWE is a public company. I believe so. Don't quote me on that. I think so. I think public company, public court. Let's go. You know, come on. Let's do it. So that is their stuff. So yeah, ESPN's trying to save them, or at least trying to save from public embarrassment, I'm going to take a guess and say. And ESPN filed this in March, so it's very recent, a couple months ago. It's May now, and I haven't seen anything new except for that. Then April comes around, last month, and I think this might put a strain on some of ESPN's workers, some of their employees, because I found an article on Yahoo, which was actually originally reported by Wrestling Inc., and I just shared the article. ESPN writer Andreas Hale denied access to WWE WrestleMania 42. interesting about this, I looked it up. Andreas Hale is the one that gave them the C for WrestlePalooza. So I don't think WWE was very happy with that, and not only are we not seeing ratings anymore, but now they want to ban the one that gave them the C rating. The one that was being honest, because let's be honest, WrestlePalooza was not a great pay-per-view. The only one that held that pay-per-view was the ladies. So Mr. Hale took to social media to announce he had been blocked access to WrestleMania 42 despite the ongoing relationship between WWE and his PLE partner. Andreas Hale says, "I will not be covering WrestleMania for ESPN. WWE denied my credentials and blocked my access. Neither nor ESPN have been told why." It sounds like ESPN may not even know why. I think I know why. In my opinion, I think it's because you didn't like their pay-per-view and they didn't take it very well. Seems like when it comes down to credits, they don't listen. But let's move on with Mr. Hale. You can speculate on the reasons, but if you want answers, ask WWE. Let me know what they tell you. Finn. Andreas, I'm so sorry they blocked you from that. I'm pretty sure it's because they're still butthurt over the C you gave them. You know, you do your job and you keep going. So now we're blocking writers from the company you're supposed to be great partners with. That's a great start. Honestly, that makes me angry for him because he was just doing his job. And I'm pretty sure they're just being petty about it. But anyways, I digress. Moving on. So it was about 4 months after the deal, Freddie Prinze Jr. So you don't know who Freddie Prinze Jr. is. He's actually in Scooby-Doo, and he actually was a writer for a while for WWE. And, you know, he is an actor, celebrity, so he's got ins and outs. Freddie Prinze Jr. came forward and claimed that ESPN is unhappy with the WWE deal. And seeing the stuff we've seen so far, I can see why. His quote was, "ESPN, by the way, is so unhappy with the deal. I was talking to a friend of mine who works for Disney, and he was just like, yo, they better make their money back on this deal," like he said. They're hot. And people are like, what credit does Freddie Prinze Jr. have? You gotta remember, he has connections. He has done stuff with WWE before. Do I believe him? Yes, I do. But, you know, could be wrong. But I think he does have a place in his heart for wrestling too, so he'd call that stuff out too. So then after that, a new report refutes Freddie Prinze Jr.'s WWE ESPN deal claim. Surprise, surprise. Let's be honest, okay? I'm gonna take an example here. Let's play pretend for a moment. This is not real. This is just an example. Not true, not real. This right here is just not real. It's about Triple H. Let's just say that Triple H and Nick Khan, this is fake, are at each other's throats. And somebody goes out and says, listen, these two are not getting along. And let's just say they're calling each other names here or there. They're at each other's throats or hitting each other. Do you want that to get out? No, because it makes your company look bad, especially like CEO and head of creative. But you don't want that to get out. And that's why I think ESPN would be denying it, because you can't just get this great deal signed and all of a sudden you realize you screwed up. In my opinion, companies like that, they don't admit their faults. They don't want to come out with the truth. They want to hide it and bury it. And sometimes that doesn't always work. Right now, this circus is going on right in front of our eyes, especially now on May 12th, 2026. Circus right in front of our eyes. In this article, we spoke to sources in WWE, a higher up, and said no one in WWE upper management is aware of Freddie Prinze Jr.'s role in wrestling or otherwise, Ross Sapp said in his report. Like I said, I believe that he was once on the writers for like 4 months or something like that, but he didn't say that he went backstage and talked to WWE. No, he said he was talking to his friend. But whatever, you know. If there's really bad blood between the two now, it'll come out. And then WWE now has been having a hard time selling stuff, like tickets especially. They're hard filling up seats now, and it's like there's a couple reasons I believe why that is, and I don't think ESPN's happy with that either. I mean, I wouldn't be either if your company that you are working with is supposed to bring in audience to you is not filling up seats. I'd be unhappy too. But I just wanted to look at the prices and stuff and compare, so this is the best I could do. So for WrestlePalooza tickets, and I had to get this from Google and AI because the ticket sales don't really exist anymore, which is messed up. So take it with a grain of salt. This was from AI on Google. I don't like using AI, but it is the only thing that would come up while searching Google. And I can't take the AI thing off, so it's like I did the best I can. Take it with a grain of salt. I do believe this is probably close to correct, but tickets for one seat was roughly between $250 and $6,000 plus for WrestlePalooza. That's a lot. So I want to do a little bit more research to see what tickets we're doing now, but it's kind of hard because WrestleMania is over and the next big pay-per-view was SummerSlam, and that's like months away, and you can't get the prices up right now because they're not even on sale yet. So I had to do the best I could, which was Saturday night main event. I believe it was in Fort Wayne, Indiana. So the first thing I did when I went to the site to check the tickets prices is this little screen popped up. What you need to know. Availability and pricing are subject to change. Resale ticket prices may exceed face value. So I got that warning. And then I went in and looked. So this is for Saturday night main event. The lowest ticket prices I can find, by the way, this is for one seat, is $66.80. And then for a good seat, I found two of them. One is a VIP, one is not. The non-VIP for one ticket is $759.60, while the VIP is $963.60. That's a lot of money. That's more than my mortgage. I have cheap mortgage. But we're gonna go back to WrestlePalooza for a minute because my notes are all over the place. Sorry. But it was reported, after that VPN ad and WrestlePalooza happened, Netflix ratings climbed for WrestlePalooza and Raw. Wonder why. In other countries is what I mean, like Canada. Canada was the first one. I wonder why. Don't know, just don't know. Move forward. WrestleMania this year has had a hard time making sales, and I'm pretty sure ESPN was probably not happy about that either. So WWE had to try to come up with strategies. They did a small percentage off, which didn't push very many sales. See, I wonder why, because you guys hiked the prices up just to lower the prices at a percent that are still higher than the original price. Yeah, love it. They started dropping in February. The tickets started dropping in February when they realized they weren't moving to 25%, and it didn't do very much. It doesn't help that this year they were in Vegas, where last year they were in Vegas, and so some people may not want to go to the same place, but my personal opinion is it's the prices. If I were to go to a WrestleMania event, it wouldn't be to go for the city, it would be to go for the show. That's what I did for concerts when I was a kid. So WWE finally started moving more tickets when they decided on March 16th, which is Steve Austin Day, 3/16, they did a 31.6% sale. They wonder why, that might work, because he lowered it more. I also believe sales were slow because the Royal Rumble was just mediocre. The surprises were nothing. My opinion, and this is my idea was they had wrestlers in there that nobody knew from AAA. No offense to those wrestlers, but this has happened before with Mick Foley. I think since this was Chad Gable's return, that maybe he should have came out as Chad Gable first, gotten eliminated, and then also come back as the original Americana. That would have made more sense to me, and I've been more hyped up to know that Chad is there as Chad. That would have been a little bit more exciting to me. But that's my opinion. Whatever. I only watch it. The storylines have also been mediocre. I know they were messing around with AI, and I don't know how to the extent they were. I know they were just playing around with it and came out with some story about Bobby Lashley, who, by the way, at that time was in AEW. I think he still is. I don't know. And then they did AI photo that gave Dominic Mysterio the AEW title. Stop with the AI. And in my opinion, I think they tested a storyline with AI and it completely failed. And I believe, and I can be wrong, the gingerbread story, the gingerbread man story they just finished up, it's stupid. It feels like an AI story. They used AI images, of course, but it just feels like an AI story. It's bland. It's dumb. It's just, to me, it was just stupid. But whatever. That was right before WrestleMania. So to try to push more tickets, they decided to get John Cena, and he agreed to it, to become the host for WrestleMania. And his name is John Cena! Which was a good move on their part, because, he's retired. The one thing I do see is him never wrestling again as a wrestler, because when John Cena says something, he means it. That's why he doesn't have kids, stuff like that. He can change his mind, but I think, in my opinion, it's very, very rare. But him as a host and him doing this other stuff with the whole club thing, yeah, that feels like a John Cena move. something he can still do to help out without actually stepping in the ring. So that brought more people in. The other problem I think was with WrestleMania is there's too many celebrity pushes, and a lot of them I don't even know who they are, or they feel like they're, washed away. Like Lil Yachty, I only know for his name, and it feels like the last time I heard his name was like 20 years ago. It's like they need to calm down with that. A lot of the people that are there, they're not there to see celebrities. They're there to see wrestling. They're there to see the wrestlers. And then when we get to WWE and WrestleMania stuff, it just, especially with this past pay-per-view, it was Backlash. Backlash felt like nothing but an advertisement. That's what it felt like. It felt like there was barely any wrestling. It was mediocre. That was my opinion. Too much advertisement is killing it. And they don't understand it. The company does not understand. So when we get to night 1 of WWE's WrestleMania, we get 50,816 people. And night 2 is 55,256 people. And according to, I believe it was Google, I Googled it, 19,000 people less than last year's WrestleMania. So it's kind of bad. But WWE and TKO then after that reported how much of a financial success it was. Yeah, it's because you overcharged people. That's not a success. I don't know how satisfied ESPN was with WWE with WrestleMania. I don't know the numbers. I don't think ESPN really gives out the numbers of the views and everything. But they're watching it closely to see how it's doing. And the way everything's going and everything that I have said so far, I don't think they're going to sign another deal once they're done. Here's the horrible part. After WrestleMania, almost 30 wrestlers released. And it's horrible. You have The New Day, you have the Wyatt Six, you have Selena Vega and Aleister Black, lots of people. Kairi Sane, don't ever forget Kairi Sane. Just a ton of wrestlers. Sorry if I forgot any. I mean, I forgot a lot, but there's a lot. And the biggest ones that surprised me was The New Day. When I read the article, I was like, what? I was at a craft show event, and I was reading there, just sitting there, reading there. I'm like, what? So in this article from Sports Illustrated, according to Dave Meltzer, which you can take his reporting with a grain of salt, they do cuts every single year because they had basically just taken over the company. They were trying to be the good guys and all that. They didn't order lots of cuts last year. They kind of held back. So this year, it's kind of like a catch-up. According to Meltzer, that's that. I know another reason WWE uses, well, we got to make room for our people coming over from NXT. That's maybe my Triple H thing. I don't know. Hey, editing Cora here. One thing I did forget to mention is when they were releasing all these wrestlers, they were also giving all kinds of wrestlers this obligation of trying to get less pay than what their contracts had originally been. And a lot of them got 48 hours to make a decision. So do with that information as what you will. But to me, it's a little fishy. And then I heard the magical words from a different news report from, I think it was Culture Wrestling. Somebody had mentioned Endeavor being in debt. The last record of Endeavor with their, I guess you could say, debt was 2025 of May last year. This company appears to have delisted their reason acquired by Silver Lake. Last recorded May 23rd, 2025. So take this with a grain of salt because the only thing I can find is coming up through AI review. So I'm just going to go over that on Google. Endeavor Group Holdings has managed a significant debt load reported at roughly $6.10 billion as of December 2024. Yeah, see, they haven't even really had anything updated. Largely stemming from acquisitions like the UFC the company has, offering high leverage. You can't even really find anything, so that's kind of messed up thing. But after this, all the pay cuts happen, and honestly, if I was a wrestler, depending what my contract said, I'd go and get a lawyer because they're trying to convince a lot of wrestlers to take a pay cut, and their excuse was they're doing less house shows and they're traveling less and they're wrestling less, and that was their excuse for trying to get people to take a pay cut. But then Nick Khan gets a raise, and the weird thing is a lot of the wrestlers got 48 hours to respond with if they take the pay cut or not, while Nick Khan gets a raise. So, wrestling news company Nick Khan has signed a new contract to remain WWE president through the end of 2030. Includes an $11 million signing equity award, base salary climbing to $3 million per year, target annual bonus, and up to $6 million annual equity awards of $7.5 million and $8.5 million per year, and $5 million. Yeah, so like the big wigs are getting themselves races is what it looks like. But yeah, so lots going on. That leads us to May 2026. That's everything. You can decide, what do you think is going to happen with ESPN and WWE in the next couple of years? I said years. Put a comment down below. Do you think that ESPN is going to try to get out of the contract? Do you think they're going to try to ride it out to 2000, whatever it is that the contract ends? What, 30? But in my opinion, I think this is a very rocky relationship and they're walking on eggshells. So that's my opinion. Like, tell me what you think. Thank you for watching. If you like this video anytime, please like, comment, subscribe, share, hit that bell to know when I go live. I usually post videos on Thursdays, sometimes Tuesdays, depending on my mental health. But until next time, bye.